chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news. And on today's show, Saraya is back in action, the Avengers Assemble, and bustin' makes me feel good. But as you know, here at Model Behaviour, action figures always come first. Or sometimes not at all, verily. So let's talk about them. First up, I'm just going to do a very quick recap of the Marvel Legends sneaky leaks that came out yesterday. So if you don't want to see any sneaky leaks, you can skip on to the next chapter. Okay, a little bit of fair warning right there. You ready? Okay, we're going to talk about them real quick. First of all, we had The Blob. Finally, one of the most requested figures. We're going to be able to complete our Brotherhood of Mutants, or at least get one step closer to completing them, and he is completely new. At first I thought it was just the head and the hands. Nah, this is a brand new Blob, so that's kind of cool. And then we also got Ronan the Accuser, and I think some eagle-eyed folks have said that maybe there's a little bit of Colossus in there, possibly. I don't know, either way they look like a pair of big chunky boys, so that always makes me happy. And finally, we got some shots of Black Panther from Wakanda Forever. We don't know who it is under the mask, not officially anyway, but I mean, there have been some spoilers out there. Lego used to... Nothing is sacred from Lego, it would seem. But yeah, those are the three that were leaked. They were probably going to be revealed on the Hasbro Pulse members only stream on Thursday, so kind of jumped ahead of the queue on that one. So there you go, that's a little bit of Marvel Legends news. Devil Toys have shown images of their Mecha-kun and Burger-kun, and these are the kind of things that they just twist my nips in just the right way. You know what it is. I always talk about the art of action figures. This is not just the art of action figures, it's the nostalgia of action figures. These are just like modern reinterpretations of the Happy Meal toys you would get in McDonald's in the 80s. It's a big old nostalgia bum, and it's a nostalgia bum, then zhuzhed up to modern toy making, high-end kind of standards with the beautiful cloth goods and clothing and accessories and the sort of playability with the different types of accessories you can put on there with the ridiculous like weapons and all sorts of stuff. I dig it. I really, really dig it. I won't get them because they are expensive. They come with that high-end, highfalutin type price tag. You're looking at over $100, which is not surprising for this kind of level, but at the same time, it's enough for me to go, okay, I like him, but not that much. Still, as far as modern interpretations of old Happy Meal toys, I really, really dig these. So much creativity has gone into them that hits a special little spot, a special little spoot. I'm not going to edit this. It hits a special little spot right there in my heart. Mafex have shown some images of their LeBron James Space Jam. What was it called? Space Jam: A New Legacy. I didn't see that sequel movie. It felt a bit too corporate for my liking. From the trailer, I was like, nah, this doesn't have the soul. Doesn't have the soul of the original Space Jam, I don't think. It feels like a whole bunch of people in a marketing boardroom were like, how can we implement brand integration into this Space Jam property, utilizing our different market resources to pull... That's what it felt like. I'm like, nah, Davey ain't here for that. Just Michael Jordan and the Warner Brothers characters. That's all you need. You start fudging in all sorts of random things, and it's like, what is this even about anymore? Destroying the sanctity of Space Jam, I tells ya. But what isn't destroying any kind of sanctity is this Mafex figure, because Mafex figures are beautiful. It's so funny, like I was kind of losing my love for my Mafex Ben Reilly Spider-Man, because I was like, I can't get you looking like good however I put you. And then I watched Jay Hernandez's review of the black costume Spider-Man, and I was like, oh, that's how you pose action figures. So yeah, now I'm super happy with him. So this LeBron James, he comes with all sorts of accessories and things you can swap in and out, as you would expect from Mafex. 3 different head sculpts. Let me give you some of the pricing details. The figure is going to be 10,780 yen, which isn't really much help for you guys. Don't worry, that's the equivalent of about $70. And also, he's going to be scheduled for release around about November of 2023. So you got a long old time to wait for him. Sticking with Mafex, we've got one that's really close to my heart. Clearly words fail me. Robocop 2. Robocop 2, this looks wicked. It's the unmasked version. We already have a Robocop, but now they're just doing this unmasked one, which maybe, I will admit, is probably surplus to requirements a little bit. Don't you think? A whole separate figure just to have an unmasked head? It's not just that though. You do also get a really nice battle-damaged torso diorama. And I remember watching the Robocop 2 movie trailer in like 1990 as a kid, just over and over, because it just looked so cool to me. And I remember that, where the guy's like, Robocop is off warranty. Typical 80s corporate douchebag. So yeah, it looks great. And it should do, because it has a big price tag, of course. This Robocop's going to be going for, again, just like LeBron James, about $73 over in the US when he eventually comes out. That's going to be September of next year, barring any kind of delays or anything. But with Robocop 2, I love the blue hue that they put on the suit. That was a great way of just changing things a little bit for the sequel, but still keeping the essentials. I thought that was great. Man, I want to go watch Robocop 2 again. And for you Back to the Future fans, Neca are doing a Back to the Future accessory pack, just like the Ninja Turtles one they did. Was it Secret of the Ooze, specifically? Or did they do one for both movies? Regardless, we're getting a Back to the Future pack. And this has got a whole bunch of fun new things. We've got an Einstein, we've got Doc Brown with the crazy head contraption there, all sorts of nice little like Easter egg type things. You've got the you're fired facts. There's a lot of fun to be had with this. And you should be having a lot of fun with it, because it's going to cost $34. So for that price, I would expect a reasonable amount of fun. So this guy is going to be out round about sort of the first quarter of next year. So you're not going to have to wait too long for that. And they're just doing everything from Back to the Future. They haven't touched the Wild West stuff yet, though, I don't think. So that could be a fun one for them to move on to next, because they're hitting everything from those first two movies. So I think it's about time they bring on the cowboys. Trick or Treat Studios, they are busy this time of year, are giving us a 3-pack of all 3 kids in the masks from Halloween 3. There's a lot of 3s in this one. And look, I got a real confession to make. I consider myself a Halloween fan. Like, even I go so far as to say a bit of a Halloween aficionado. But I'm one of those basic guys who hasn't seen Halloween 3, and I know I need to. I need to get onto that. So this has given me some more motivation. I'm going to go see Halloween Ends tonight. I'm really excited for that. I've heard incredibly mixed to negative reviews, and that only makes me more excited to see it. So here's hoping it's so bad it's an enjoyable dumpster fire, as opposed to just being so bad it's boring. That's the worst case scenario. Still, these figures, they look kind of fun. They look creepy, as well they should do. Going to be retailing for about $300, so expensive. But for any hardcore Halloween 3 Season of the Witch fans, there's no choice. You've got to get these guys. We have full package reveals of the Mattel Masters of the Universe Masterverse 2-Bat figure, and I just think he looks really cool. I'm not a big Masters of the Universe guy, but I do love the creature design. I think that's really, really fun, and whenever I see a lot of these, I just think, man, you just had some slightly more intricate paint work. That would really, because all the Masters of the Universe figures, they just look a bit too plasticky to me. If they just had a bit of dry brushing, bit of a wash, just make them look a bit more Neca-ish, a bit more McFarlane-y, then it would just tip them over the edge of that toyish thing to action figure type thing. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking crazy. I'm sure I'm not talking crazy. But regardless, I love, first of all, like the box art on the back as well. That wonderful D&D kind of style painted. Like, it just, if they did like big ass posters of those, oh man, I would be tempted. Because I just think they look so freaking good. So yeah, that's got the full product package reveals, and they should be up for pre-order very, very soon. Unless they are already. I don't think they are. I'll check that. Continuing their 31 Nights of Fright, Neca are now showing off their Thing dog. And we've had this kind of teased and previewed for a long, long time. Now we've got the full image reveal, and yeah, it's hard to look at. Like, geez, the sculptors at Neca must have had great fun making this. It's horrifying. And it's what the thing looked like. And it's cool, but not for me, thanks. You literally have 4 different versions of this figure. So you can do like a little time-lapse display from cute dog, then with his face split open, flesh peeled back, tentacles coming out. Oh, geez Louise. I do love that movie, but whew, some of that imagery I wouldn't want to have sitting on my shelf. But you might. Joy Toy have shown off some images of their new Warhammer 40k figures, and this is from the Tau Empire. I'm not familiar with this section of Warhammer lore. I was quite into Warhammer in like the late 80s, early 90s, and then I sort of got out of it just because I never played it properly because it was always just too confusing for me. Too much math and sitting still. Not good for this kid. But I still love the imagery and the designs and the crazy complex lore. So we've got these classic, they look like your classic grey-skinned aliens. They're going to go take people and beam them up and probe them and all that kind of stuff. But obviously it'll be far more horrific because it's Warhammer 40k. So yeah, if you like your 1/18th scale and Warhammer, these guys are for you. We got a few more product shot reveals of Masters of the Universe Origins figures. So I'm not overly familiar with these guys, but I'm going to rattle them off because I know some of you guys, you freaking love these Masters of the Universe Origins, don't you? I know you're out there. So first of all, we have Boltman. So there's Boltman. That's all I can say. And also we have Rattlor. That's the guy. So yeah, Boltman and Rattlor, we got those 2, but we have 2 more as well. We also have Masters of the Universe Origins Snake Armor He-Man, and we also get Cobra Kai as well. So that's 4 more Masters of the Universe Origins figures to add to your collection. This is one that's kind of fun. We're already starting the build up to Christmas, and Fresh Monkey Fiction have shown full-on images of their naughty or nice range of figures. And I love taking established characters and lore and then just kind of twisting them. And this is really fun to do with the Santa Claus kind of mythos, I guess. The Santa Claus cinematic universe, this could be. So we have a classic jolly old fat man. And I think he actually, that's kind of lovely. I quite like the idea of having just a Santa Claus action figure because I love Christmas. I'm a big old kid at Christmas, so just having Santa as an action figure, I could be tempted by that. But then also, like, we get a little more dark and subversive. We've got the Nutcracker, who, you know, looks like a sort of a possessed kind of toy, and we've got like an evil Santa as well, and of course, a big one is Krampus. Krampus looks awesome. I didn't get the Mythic Legions Krampus. I kind of missed the boat on that. But seeing this is cool. Like, it's funny, Christmas actually has some pretty wicked lore behind it, especially if you go around all the different countries and the European folklore and mythology. There's a lot to mine from that, and these figures, they actually look like a lot of fun. Diamond Select are giving us a Johnny Lawrence Cobra Kai figure. Just got a couple of extra pictures. Not too much to say about this though, to be honest. I'm not a fan of the Diamond Select kind of, it's a bit neckery with the uncanny valley porcelain looking kind of human faces. I don't dig it, you know? And also with Cobra Kai figures, it's just dudes in tracksuits. I want monsters. I want cool, scary, funky, awesome stuff. So it looks kind of like Johnny Lawrence. It's not like an uncanny resemblance, but it's fine. So there you go. I'm sure there are some big-time Select and Cobra Kai fans being like, shut up, Dave. This looks amazing. And if it does, then awesome. Go buy it. And finally, for action figures, Super 7 Peanuts figures are hitting store shelves in Walmart, and I love some of these seasonal type ones, especially Halloween. Peanuts, Halloween, Snoopy, Charlie Brown. I love those holiday specials, even though they are a quintessentially kind of American thing. Like, there's certain bits of Americana that seem to have been adopted by some British culture so much, and at least for me, the Halloween and Charlie Brown Christmas, like, that hits the old nostalgia bone right there. So these very cute, simple little figures, I really dig them. Over in film news, or film and TV news, Disney Plus have shown some images from the new Willow show. I love the fact that Willow is alive and well again. I rewatched, not editing that. I rewatched the movie not that long ago, and it just kind of reminded me what a great kind of story, not just the film itself has, but the actors, and Warwick Davis in particular, of course, have had in trying to get this property back into the mainstream and give it a new lease of life. So I love seeing this all come to fruition. And if it is some fun, maybe slightly darker kind of sword and sorcery, bit of fantasy, this could be a little sleeper hit, I think. You know, there was Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings that got all the big budget hoopla. But I think Willow might just kind of sneak in there and quietly be the best one out of those 3 sword and sorcery franchises. And we'll get to find out on November 30th when it debuts on Disney+. Over in Star Wars news, there is a new Star Wars film in development. And this is just interesting to hear because everything has been pivoted so much towards Disney Plus with varying degrees of success. But apparently Damon Lindelof, who, you know, wrote or was one of the co-writers on Lost, and was also apparently, I think, showrunner on Watchmen, the Watchmen TV show, he is in charge of penning this new script, which is going to be directed by the lady who directed Miss Marvel. I'm going to have to check my notes. It's Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. Sincere apologies if I mispronounced that. I'm just very bad at pronunciating words. Clearly, I struggle with them on occasion. But it's just nice to hear that there are more theatrical Star Wars coming up in our future, because it would be a shame if it was just a television property. I think they kind of felt a little bit burned and got some cold feet from the last couple of theatrical releases. But if you do it right, it can still be good. We've got another one coming out, apparently in development by Taika Waititi. And look, Love and Thunder notwithstanding, I'm still a big fan of Taika Waititi. Like any creative person, I think they just need to be guided. Sometimes when someone is given full creative reign, you don't want that. You want someone who is a great creative person who can then be sort of guided into the right direction. And if that's the case, then we could have some good Star Wars movies and products still to come in the future. A couple of comic book recommendations, and this is both very Marvel-centric. First of all, we've got Moon Knight Annual, and we got a nice little bit of Disney Plus synergy going on with this one. It will be Moon Knight versus Man-Wolf. So the 2 big money players in Disney Plus TV at the moment are going to be going head to head. Let me read you the synopsis. Moon Knight Annual 1. Werewolf by night. In the Darkhold, there is a prophecy of how a god might die. Jack Russell, more familiar with that cursed tome than most, would like very much to kill a god and save his people, the people bound in servitude to the moon. But to fulfill that prophecy requires the blood of the Fist of Khonshu, and Moon Knight doesn't bleed easily. This looks like it could be a lot of fun. We got 2 quite spooky characters in the run-up to Halloween, both of them kind of hot commodities right now. I think I might have to check this one out. Then over on the Avengers side of things, Marvel have dropped a trailer for their Avengers Assemble event. And this is kind of cool because it's a big culmination of things that have been started and planted and been evolving for the last 4 years. So the trailer itself looks kind of cool. Let me read you some of the synopsis about it that I found on Comic Book Resources. Avengers Assemble is set to be the capstone of Aaron's work with the Avengers after over 4 years. Aaron's run on Avengers began in May 2018 when the title's first issue released, and since then he has shaken up the team's roster, delved into the Avengers of 1 million BC, made Echo the wielder of the Phoenix Force, introduced a new star brand, penned the Heroes Reborn event, and more. Avengers Assemble will combine the writer's work with the Avengers and the team's prehistoric predecessor, along with the heroes of Avengers Forever. This seems like exactly the kind of story that Avengers are best for. Big, massive, widescreen, epic, blockbuster type event. So honestly, I haven't read Avengers myself for the longest time, but a big mega event like this, I think I might just have to drop in and just see what's going on. Over in video games, a game that just kind of came out of nowhere and really caught my attention is one called Bravery and Greed, coming out November 15th. I saw the trailer and it just looks like some great 2D side-scrolling Dungeons and Dragons, or more to the point, ghosts and goblins sort of battling, and it just looks super fun. And you got some multiplayer co-op components in there as well. Judging by the trailer and the general feel of it, again, this has been a nostalgic kind of episode. I'm feeling a lot of like nostalgia buzzes from some of these properties that are coming up, and this looks like one that should just work for me. I'm going to wait for the reviews to come out so I can have a better idea of what we're talking about here. However, just looking at this trailer, it looks like a lot of fun, the kind of aesthetics I really love. And also it's going to be available on pretty much everything. So for me, this looks like a perfect traveling on the go Nintendo Switch type game. So I'm looking forward to this. One of my favorite games from when I was younger was Theme Park. I love those kind of god games where you're building a complex and just getting bigger and bigger and making all the money and doing all the things. The best example of that for me was Dungeon Keeper. Man, I wish we could get a new Dungeon Keeper. However, one thing we are going to get is Zombie Cure Lab, and this seems like it's just a bit of fun. So it's a typical theme park type game where you're building up your base, but this is in a zombie apocalypse where you are trying to cure zombies, and it looks like you can get them and you can kind of like train them, convert them, get them to carry out labor and manual work for you and stuff, and again, it looks like fun. It looks kind of basic, which is what I need. Things like Civilization and stuff, it's too much. Too many stats, too many menus, too many options, too much math. No, let's just bring it back a little bit. A cartoony zombie apocalypse type world building game, that could work really well. So it's going into early access in December. This is like Steam and PC type thing. But I'm really excited to see how this evolves because this could be right up my street. And finally for games, one that I had a real close eye on was Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. And now the reviews are coming in and they're kind of what I would expect, which is basically saying, hey look, if you are a Ghostbusters fan, this is absolutely something you're going to enjoy. If you're not that tied to the franchise, then there are better games out there. And that's sort of what I was expecting. This isn't some massive AAA type game, but it does have a good budget behind it. But it's not something that I think was really trying to be this all things to all people. This is a Ghostbusters nostalgia fest for Ghostbusters fans, and it looks pretty. And apparently the gameplay loop is fun, and you've got some multiplayer components in there and stuff as well, so there is a good time to be had, especially because it kind of continues the story of Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm sure that when the actual proper film sequel comes out, it won't be canon, but it's continuing the threads that were built upon on that original, well, not original movie, but on Ghostbusters Afterlife. So you're starting out and Winston has restarted the Ghostbusters. You got a whole new team of recruits. It looks like a really good time. So this might be a fun Halloween game for me. Most people are giving it kind of like just, like a 6, 7 out of 10. So like not bad, but just not amazing. But for a Ghostbusters fan, I think I'm going to have to play this. Over in wrestling news now, and just some nice news to report. This isn't late breaking, it came out a while ago, but Saraya, formerly Paige in WWE, has officially been medically cleared to wrestle and compete, and that just makes me so happy to hear. Because I knew Saraya when she was like a wee little lass traveling up and down the country doing wrestling shows with her family. Awesome people, great experiences. Can't believe how far she's gone in the industry, but also I can do because that family's just disgustingly talented when it comes to pro wrestling, so it makes perfect sense. So it was such a shame when her career was cut short, so to see her be able to make a comeback and get back in the ring and actually compete and do what she loves, man, that's just wonderful news to be able to talk about. So that's one I'm going to watch with great interest. AEW, it has been it's been a tumultuous few months, to say the least, but that's a nice little bright spot of good news I'm very happy to report. Hey, how's this for dumb luck? I had one of the worst things that happens more than once for me, where I'll finish recording a video, take my camera, and then realize that it stopped recording because it ran out of memory because I forgot to delete old videos. So I was like, and then when I went to check, it stopped after that last story. And guess what? That was the last story. So I've put all my stuff away now, so I can't do a proper outro. So I'll do one now. Thanks for watching, gang. And until next time, I can only do like a one-hand thing. Until next time, can't even click now. Keep displaying model behavior.
Cup of coffee. Big time